There's a fascinating phenomenon which sometimes occurs in World of Warships Legends, and you could see it there very briefly on the team roster. You can see it again if you direct your attention to the top of the screen. You'll notice, if you do direct your attention there, that there are only 6 ships on each team, so each team is missing 3 ships, and if you were very astute when you were looking at the team rosters, you will have also noticed that every single one of the 12 ships in this game is playing on the exact same console as I am, that is, the PlayStation. Maybe they're not playing on the PlayStation 5, maybe they're playing on the PlayStation 4, but they're playing on the PlayStation. And so the widely accepted explanation for this phenomenon, the phenomenon when you find yourself in a game with less than 9 ships on each team, but every ship in said game shares the same console as you, the cause of this phenomenon is somebody in this game has crossplay turned off, and I submit to you, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube jury, that there is no reasonable reason for you to turn off crossplay in World of Warships Legends. None whatsoever. Nevertheless, people do it, and I think it is foolish. There's no benefit to it. If anybody thinks there's a benefit, feel free to tell me in the comments section below, but there isn't. The only benefit is when you get stuck in one of these games, you can try to make the most out of it, and sometimes you really, really will. Even though there are only 6 ships on the enemy team, we are still going to do over 200,000 damage to all of them in this battle, and we're going to see if doing 200,000 damage to 6 enemy ships is going to be enough to carry our team to victory, or if it's going to end in a tragic defeat and all our effort is for nothing. Right now, we're trying to acquire some kind of position that isn't right next to our friendly battleships. We want to put some space between ourselves and them so that we can try to develop crossfires. And right now, it looks like the enemy Yamato is pushing in toward the Charlie Cap because he's noticed a battleship flotilla over there, and he wants to shoot at them. But doing so is forcing him to give broadside to us, and well, when a Yamato gives broadside, the results are often not pretty. Unfortunately, we increased our lead just a little bit too much there. We didn't quite lead the target accurately enough. We, I think, overpenned him a little bit through the bow, actually. What we want is the Citadel. So as our guns are reloading, we're going to adjust our aim. He's still broadside. He doesn't care. He thinks he's safe after taking almost no damage. Well, no he's not, because we take away pretty much half of his hit points there with 2 citadels and a couple penetrations. Now he's not looking so good, and, well, take a look at the teammates behind him. It's an absolute smorgasbord of broadsides. In fact, we are sort of at a loss for which target to shoot. In retrospect, we probably should have shot the Yamato again, but there was the Minotaur giving us broadside as well, and looking like a very juicy target. He turns out, saves himself from the worst of the destruction, but he still takes a Citadel on the way. Meanwhile, we're having to retreat because we've got 4 enemy ships in front of our face who are shooting at us. Pushing into these odds is a bad idea. It will absolutely result in our demise, especially because one of those enemy ships is a Brandenburg with torpedoes, so we have absolutely no choice but to kite away. Luckily, our team has flipped the Bravo cap over there to the right of the screen, and they're in a perfect position where they can develop a crossfire on all of these ships. Look at the Brandenburg, the Yamato, and the other battleship over there. If you look at their positions on the minimap relative to that Bravo cap circle, they all, well, the Brandenburg's not now, but they all were broadside to it and the ships inside of it, so we do have a nice crossfire here. It's absolutely perfect. The Brandenburg noticed he was broadside to the ships inside Bravo, so he turned to bow tank them, but doing so exposed his broadside to me, and I was able to punish him for it. and net myself the high caliber, and I think he's still broadside. Well, not quite. He's angled a little bit toward me, and he's still angled heavily toward the ships in the center. We're going to take another shot at him. The results aren't going to be quite as spectacular, but they will chunk him pretty nicely. That's Crossfires 101 right there, and you would think, well, after that, the Brandenburg is certainly going to go down. Certainly my teammate there in the battleship and his cruiser buddy can finish off the Brandenburg. And if they can't, well, they've got another battleship that's sort of broadside in front of them. So stuff is going to happen, right? Because things on the other side of the map, they're not looking so good. We've lost 2 battleships on that side of the map, and the enemy team has lost absolutely nobody. They've got a battleship pushing into the Charlie Cap, and now we're heading over this way because we're hoping our teammates are going to be equipped enough to deal with that almost dead Brandenburg, and then maybe do some kind of damage to those other battleships out there. But I think our hopes are going to be dashed there because the Brandenburg somehow manages to demolish our friendly Alaska, so we lose another ship, and the Brandenburg himself does not go down. At this point, we're sort of desperate for a sinking here, and finally we get it as I citadel the other enemy Brandenburg, and he goes down as the first red team loss of the entire game. Which, well, it's not great. I don't really want to mince words here. In any case, the Iowa is sort of pushing in. The Odin, who was in the Bravo Cap circle, is now pushing out toward the Yamato, who is shooting HE at him, from what I can tell, and he's caught between the Iowa and the Yamato. But that Iowa right there has no eyes for the Odin for some reason, unless he's firing at him with his rear turret. I don't know. But the Minotaur over there, 20 kilometers away, is joining in on the barrage against the Odin, so he's not liable to last too much longer. We don't really want to give up our position right now. We're trying to see what this Iowa is going to do, and it looks like he's going to turn out toward the Charlie Cap, where he may or may not know the other friendly battleship remaining aside from me is located. And as he turns, he gives broadside to us, so we attempt to take advantage of that, hoping for more than 9,300 damage done, perhaps a couple citadels, or even a dev strike. We really could have used it, but we don't get it. And now we are hopefully about to go unspotted as we try to determine what is in the Charlie Cap. We're trying to find what is in the Charlie Cap as we go in this direction, hoping that we'll be able to spot it, and we're also keeping our eyes pointed, or our guns pointed rather, in the direction where the enemy Iowa was last seen, hoping that he might become spotted once more, and we might be able to get another chance at his broadside. At this time, we are not being spotted by the enemy ship that is taking the Charlie Cap, undoubtedly one of the cruisers, so we're going to turn in here. We can't afford to waste too much time. If the enemy flips that cap, which they're going to, they're going to start acquiring points at a very rapid rate, and we're quickly going to need to sink something or wrest cap control back from one of these caps. More likely than not, we're going to have to quickly sink some things in order to even have a snowball's chance at winning this game. We get spotted by an enemy plane. I think the plane launched by the enemy cruiser inside that Charlie Cap. We're thinking the Iowa might shoot at us, but he does not. Perhaps he was broadside to us and knew that if he shot... Oh, he was broadside to us, and see, he waited, he held his fire just a little bit. I thought he was actually going to turn out in response to that, but he's not. So we're going to happily take a shot at him. Looks like he's accelerating a little bit. Now he's starting to turn out, and I think we overled him a little bit there. So maybe we can get shots on this enemy cruiser, finally. It has been revealed. It is the enemy Otago. He launched some torpedoes. I think one of them clipped our GK, and he is the last remaining teammate we have. He takes a shot at the Otago. Is it enough to finish the Otago off? No, not quite. Hopefully I am going to be able to do the job now. But once again, I sorta take a bum shot there. I mess up my aim a little bit, and the Otago is able to get away scot-free. Just as the GK, I think sarcastically, gives me a thumbs up, as if he is disappointed that I was able to miss that easy shot. I must say, in response to that, that I am disappointed that only one red ship remains at the bottom of the sea, and I was the one who sent him there. Meanwhile, our friendly GK, the last remaining teammate we have, decides it's probably going to be a good idea if he turns around that corner and pushes straight into the rest of the enemy team, minus the Atago. And I guess minus the Minotaur. The Minotaur appears to be coming for us. The Yamato is right in front of us too, and he might shoot at us. But he did indicate earlier on in this battle that he's not necessarily familiar with what type of shell he might want to use when it comes to battleship versus battleship fights, so I'm not all that worried. Instead, I'm trying to hit the Minotaur's citadel, which I utterly failed to do. He gets one single over-penetration, but to be fair, I did take that shot rather quickly, and is Yamato even going to shoot me, or are those guys too tied up with the suiciding Grossaker first? I think the latter might be the case. Okay, so we've got another chance against this Minotaur before he gets his torpedoes off. We'll aim a little bit more carefully this time and ensure our shells dev strike him in the citadel right there. Yamato, meanwhile, is still looking at us. We aim up into his superstructure. Maybe we could have actually penetrated the cheek there, but he shoots back at us with high explosive, indicating to me that he really is in no way that big of a threat, and in fact he goes down to our GK, but our GK is about to go down to the Brandenburg's torpedoes. Iowa is still visible in front of us. He's not giving us a favorable angle. We're going to take the shot anyway, and now it's a question of what do we do. And this, unfortunately, I regret to inform you, is where I believe I might have made the wrong choice. I think perhaps the right choice would have been to go into this capture circle to stop the progress of enemy points and maybe get further shots on the Iowa or a better angle on the Brandenburg. But in the heat of battle, when only 2 enemy ships had been sunk and only 4 in total in the last couple minutes, well, the enemy's at 900 points. They're going to win really, really soon. Even if I do get on that capture circle, they're going to win really, really soon. So my thought was, I better go back this way and try to sink the Brandenburg, because hopefully I can do it in one shot. And then maybe, just maybe, I can sink the Iowa, and we have a chance of winning. Brandenburg gives broadside. We don't sink him in one salvo. We do try to avoid the torpedoes by turning away, but we catch 2 on the bow. He's at low health. We're at low health. We're flooding. We've got damage control. We stop flooding at 5,000 hit points. Brandenburg turning around. His guns are not quite on us. We don't want to give broadside to him, but we also want to angle in toward the Iowa. We take a shot. It's too early. It bounces off his armor. So we're going to have to use our front guns now, and he's going to get a chance to launch his torpedoes at us, which is going to spell our demise, but we're going to take him with us. He goes down as our 3rd kill. We get over 200,000 damage done, and the game ends in our rather inglorious defeat. But well, I'm not necessarily going to blame myself entirely for that. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you are not crushed by these horrific results. But give the video a thumbs up, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.